About Zen Mindfulness, Chapter 3, The Three Elements of Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of observing what's occurring in the present moment with conscious awareness and no judgment. It's our capacity to see what's going on in us and around us in any given moment, how our body feels, what emotions are arising, and what our senses tune into. All three elements are bound together. Without one, mindfulness is lost. The present moment is the first element of mindfulness. The present moment is all around us, all the time. In fact, time becomes a non-entity, just a useful device we have to meet people, like meeting a friend for lunch at 1 p.m, for example. Used in this way, time is a beneficial measure of our existence. However, the past doesn't really exist in the present moment. It's only memory, a thought process that brings the past back to life. Similarly, the future doesn't yet exist. It's only in a thought process. We're imagining a potential future in our head. In the present moment, time has no meaning. It's useful in mindfulness to note when our minds deviate from the all-encompassing present moment, the times when we think about the past or the future. If we notice this, we can pull our attention back to the here and now, refocus on what's actually happening. The trouble with the human mind is our habit of dwelling on things, or becoming anxious about the future. Our ego cannot endure the uncertainty of the present moment, so it clings on to the past or future so it can survive. If our ego rules us, that is, if we live with more fear than love, we'll find ourselves constantly thinking of things that aren't happening now. They've already happened or they haven't happened yet. When we do this, our mind disconnects from our body, which can only exist in the present moment, and we float away on a mind journey, often manifesting emotions along the way. Thinking too much about the past means that there's perhaps some unresolved issue, or else why the need to think about it? Perhaps you feel guilty, or regretful, or sad. These emotions can be based on past experiences. Or are we fretting about the future? Chances are we'll generate anxiety, and by doing so lower our joy, our experience of life. By being in the present moment, body and mind connected, we're arriving at our natural state, a being, accepting, perfectly flowing with whatever that moment is bringing to us. Acceptance is about letting everything in and letting it be without fighting it. If we can do this, we're being mindful. We can sit with whatever occurs, observing it with our awareness, non-judgmentally. If we do this, the feeling or emotion or thought will shift and pass through without the distraction of negative thought. We allow space to breathe, transform, create whatever is needed to be created, and then things flow back into the cosmos. We're not forgetting what happened in the past or never planning for the future. We can do those things in the present moment too. The trick is noticing when we dwell too much in past or future and lose our experience of our current life. It's extremely healing and restful to stay in the present moment. One of the simplest ways of tuning into the present moment is through quietening our mind. Sitting in a quiet space, noticing the quiet, one can begin to observe the present moment. We'll also quickly notice our thoughts and subconscious patterns, some of which make it very difficult to sit and meditate. Can you sit in the quiet? How long for? Can you manage a few minutes and then see that mind, those thoughts telling you that you're bored, or thoughts telling you what a waste of time it is to just sit? Are you fidgety? Can you see your body becoming restless? The body responds to the mind. If your mind is busy, filled with thoughts, your body will not be able to stay still for too long. Consciously choosing to meditate, to sit in the quiet, we begin to experience the edges within us. We see the frustration, the need to do something, anything but sitting here. Your ego will attempt to come up with all manner of excuses and storylines for your need to get up and get on with your day. So we practice. A few seconds, maybe a few minutes. If we can practice daily, we begin to grow our patience. We begin to quiet the mind. We notice the thoughts, acknowledge them as thinking, and then return to the quiet. Exercise. Sit and just be for as long as you can manage. Notice the fidget, the boredom, and the demands from your ego mind. Label all of this as purely thinking and come back to just sitting. You can breathe and focus on your breath if you wish. That is one way to meditate. Breathing in, you feel your in-breath. Breathing out, you feel your out-breath. Or just sense the quiet and the spaces between sounds. You'll notice nowhere is truly silent. You might hear your breathing or other sounds in the room or outside of the room. Each sound gives you an opportunity to come back to just observing. See how long you can do this for. Why bother sitting still? It's not going to solve my problems. Notice the ego mind is asking these questions. There's a my in there, isn't there? Trust in the process of bringing yourself back to the quiet, back to the breath. Increasing one's patience to what is happening is a gift to your life. It's a place where we can dwell for as long as we can manage, allowing the mind to experience calm. Your thoughts become less frenetic, and your whole system gets some much needed rest. By cultivating an attitude of mindfulness, repeatedly coming back to the present moment, you are rewiring the neural pathways in your brain. The science of neuroplasticity is exploring how our brain can change and release old patterns of thinking into new patterns. By noticing old negative thinking habits or judgments, the ego mind, and choosing to let go of such thoughts, your brain begins to change. Ponder for a moment all those things that are holding you back from a fulfilled life, all those things from your past that haunt you or hound you in daily life. By rewiring your brain to sit patiently, calmly, you become the peace you're looking for. You discover inner joy, inner happiness, which is the only place it can come from. You are using a different part of your brain, the awareness part. This is the second element of mindfulness. It is the conscious gateway to the present moment. We have many senses as human beings, but we don't fully tune into them unless we become aware. Can you really feel your hands holding a book? Now I've given you the suggestion you can turn your awareness to a book in your hands, the weight, the texture, how the connection between skin and paper feels. This is conscious awareness. You're truly experiencing the present moment. In this moment you're holding a book. Furthermore, you're also reading words at the same time, and your brain is interpreting these marks, called letters, into understanding. Awareness is born with us. It's our liaison with everything we can see, smell, touch, taste, and hear. It's our connection with all other life on earth. Most of the time, when we're not being mindful and are thinking of this or that, leaving the present moment to go on an adventure in our heads, we lose our conscious awareness. Our mind is somewhere else and disassociated from our body. Have you ever driven your car, got to your destination and wondered how on earth you got there, as you'd been thinking about other things, not your awareness of the road? Only when we choose to come back to the present through our awareness will we reconnect. This way, mindful walking or mindful eating or mindful listening can be achieved. We can be walking just to walk. We can feel our feet on the earth. We can feel the warmth of the sun on our face while we walk. We could do all our tasks this way. We can mindfully brush our teeth, or eat our cereal, or wash the dishes. Mindfulness can be everywhere, so long as we use the amazing sense of awareness, the thing that doesn't need our ego thoughts in order to function. Awareness can even detect our thoughts, notice them, and then we can consciously observe them. We can ask ourselves curious questions. Is that thought true? Is it kind? Is it worth saying? Is it worth believing? This is the path to a freedom from the drama of thoughts, rather than being unaware of them and letting them create unconscious emotions within us. When you engage with the present moment, thoughts lessen. You may notice an observational thought, i.e., rain is falling. You're seeing what is. In this way, thoughts are not about you. They're not of the self. They are selfless, looking at the world without judgment. This is a connection with what is. This is how awe and wonder begin to occur when we realize life isn't all about me. We're simply part of the collective we. Everyone, everything, and the whole universe. Non-judgment is the third element of mindfulness. This element is fundamentally important because when we judge, our mind is no longer in the present moment. For example, if we're observing a person shouting at us and we think, "That's it, I've had it with this person," then we're judging a catalogue of past behaviours, thinking into a possible future, and taking personal offence. We might not really be aware we've had that thought. Judgments tend to be subconscious. We don't really choose a judgment, it just blurts out from our ego. It's resistance. Something happening now is not to your liking. Of course you could judge positively, what a beautiful person, which is still judging the person. However, this kind of judgment comes from a love-based emotion. Perhaps you're feeling kindness towards the person, so in this case the judgment enhances the experience. Therefore, it's something we won't become attached to, and it's certainly not of the self. However, negative judgments are all about how things are affecting you, i.e. the self. Self is ego and resistance to what is. If we keep judging and resisting what is, we soon lose our wonder, our full experience of the now, and tend to descend into the realm of the ego circle, where we'll inflict more suffering upon ourselves and to others. If we can let go of the ego for a moment, suspend our judgments, we access an acceptance of life, and our natural joy will increase. Judging is worse for you when it's about you. I'm so stupid. I'm a waste of space. I wish I was more beautiful. You aren't accepting yourself. If you can't accept yourself, then you'll be finding life very hard and fearful. By practicing non-judgment, we come back to acceptance of what is, and there's a shift from constant thinking to being in the present moment. If we can do this, then the more we can flow with the universe rather than fighting against it. We'll be happy rather than living in judgment and fear. Negative judgments are always fear-based. They're always our overprotective ego. By letting them go, you're beginning to turn towards your fears. This is insight and the start of more love and open-hearted kindness within you. Acceptance doesn't necessarily mean agreeing with what's happening. We just acknowledge and accept it has happened. That way we're free to choose the right course of action from this acceptance, rather than endless thought patterns of, this isn't right, this is ridiculous, this is disturbing my inner peace. If a dog barks in your meditation from outside, judging the dog barking will get you nowhere except into the past. Accepting that the dog barked and moving on to the next moment, there's liberation. A useful practice is to consciously decide to observe yourself. Maybe for 5 minutes at a time you can declare to notice what you do, what you think, and how you feel. Observe your walking, sitting, pondering, body posture, rushing, slowing, worrying, etc. Making a few notes afterward can be beneficial. We're not trying to fix anything by doing this, we're just becoming a watcher, like watching a TV show of us. This way we can begin to see if we're hunched over or feeling down or reaching for our mobile phone over and over again. Observation is pivotal to understanding what we do. Curiosity leads us to why we do it. By noticing we reach for our mobile phone, for example, we have a choice to stop that behaviour if we so wish, or carry on. Observing brings us to our awareness, out of our autopilot thinking. After a while of practicing this, you may find you can do it for longer than 5 minutes. Indeed, this is what we do when we meditate formally. Meditation is all about noticing and observing how we are in each moment. The key with the observing is that we don't judge, we just notice. Let everything come up in each moment and then let it go as we bring focus back to our awareness of what is. A formal meditation practice is a fantastic way to improve your mindfulness. Perhaps you can fit in a time each day to give yourself 5 minutes of meditation. Even 1 minute is valuable. One type of meditation is simply noticing your breath and letting everything else come up and pass by. So if your mind wanders and you start to think, you notice, smile and return to your breath. Sitting down, standing up, lying down, all postures can be meditative. Be comfortable, don't suffer through your meditation. If the floor or chair is too hard, pause your meditation and get a cushion. Be aware and curious about your posture. Try to sit with your spine straight, whether you're sitting on a cushion or in a chair. Some people enjoy sitting cross-legged. Try that by all means, but give yourself permission to shift to another position or seat if your muscles get sore. We don't need anything else to meditate, although a lit candle, soft ambient music or guided meditation CD or app may help when you first start. You'll know what suits you best, so do that. It's important to note that we're not expecting anything from our meditations. If we go into a meditation hoping to come out more relaxed, for example, then we have an expectation, a thought of a possible future, and can often become disappointed when we find it not relaxing. Meditation can be relaxing, but not always. The point of meditation is to be with whatever occurs, however choppy, difficult or emotional, without any judgment of any of it. We might notice we beat ourselves up. We might think we're not doing it right. Maybe we can only focus on our breath for a short while and discover the rest of our 5 minutes was invested in mulling something over in our head. This is all okay in mindfulness. Sometimes our minds are more active. Just notice. Sometimes we feel uncomfortable feelings in our bodies. Maybe we're aching from staying in the same position for too long, or maybe an emotion itself arises in the present. When this happens, it's important to keep breathing, to acknowledge and observe the ache or emotion. Know you are aching. Know you have an emotion. You can even label the emotion if you know what it is. Yet we continue to let thoughts drift by and just experience the feeling as it feels. After a while you'll notice feelings shift within you. They don't stay the same. Aches will change consistency too. Of course you can always adjust your position if it's uncomfortable. Be kind to yourself. Notice as well if, after weeks of meditation, you don't feel any different. You might think it's not working. You might think, what's the point in doing this? The point is to be in the present and let things come and go. The point is not to think about whether things work or not. I guarantee that if you keep meditating, you will find other facets of your life improving. The longer we stay in the present moment, the more resilience we build in ourselves and the easier it is for us to heal our bodies and minds. We're growing our strength of mindfulness, our noticing.